What's going on, everybody? Cable Guy Ken coming to you live once again from the boat top in the front of my house here in Florence, South Carolina. Be one of the last videos I do on the boat top sitting here, because I got a new place we're getting ready to move into. Still going to be renting, but it's a lot better house. Got a pool, pond, you know, all kind of cool accoutrements. Main thing is it's got more room since we've got a baby on the way. I don't know if a lot of y'all knew about that or not, but we got a baby girl be here July 20th to the 29th, somewhere around in there. But wanted to touch base with y'all today, let you know what's been going on, yada yada yada, where I've been and everything. I miss making my videos, y'all. This is, you know, next to spending time with my family and going to church, not necessarily in that order, this is one of the highlights of my day, is making videos, sharing with people, and, you know, connecting with all my neat friends that I got out here in the interwebs, as one of my brothers on here would say. But been having some health issues. Some of you noticed I've lost a little bit of weight. I went from 297 to about 225 roughly. Gone back up a little bit here the past few weeks, but it's because of all the medicine the doctors got me on. Was diagnosed here a while back with a vascular necrosis. Short explanation, my bones aren't getting enough blood and they're dying, mainly in my hips. Kind of like getting a cavity in your tooth, the bones just deteriorating. So they're looking at what they're going to do about that. Trying to find the underlying cause is numero uno, you know, main thing they want to do here, I guess you could say. But they're trying to figure out what's happening, why it's doing it. But they also need to replace bone or do a complete, you know, hip replacement on me eventually, both hip joints. Had neck disease, disc disease in my neck for years from wrecks and falling out of tree stands and, you know, all the stuff us good old country boys do, and we get up and shake it off. But as you get older, time takes its toll, and, you know, what you sow also shall you reap. And I've sowed a lot, so I'm reaping it now. Got degenerative disc disease in all but maybe about 3 inches of my spine, so my spine's just about shot, you know, from top to bottom. But with that being said, I still outwork most of the little kids I work with, so, you know, it's all in what you do, I guess. But I've also been trying to get back into making my knives. This is one I made for a good friend of mine, a girl I actually used to date years and years ago. She brought me the knife that was already made. It was one somebody had forged for her out of an unknown piece of steel. And they did a fair job. I'm not going to criticize their knife making skills, because I ain't no professional. But it had the metal curl handle on it. She wanted a new handle put on it for her so she could use it in the kitchen and around the camp and stuff, and wanted a little sheath for it. So I made just like what I call a frog style sheath. Folded the top of the leather over, left that flap loose, attached it in the back. That way she can slip it into a belt and it'll catch. She don't have to strap it on. Then she can pull it out, put it back in as she needs it. And when she gets to the house, she can put the sheath on it, throw it in the drawer, and not worry about it. Like I said, I didn't make the knife, but I put the handle on it for her. It's a rat tail handle. The handle comes just about where the second pin stops. And I'm going to get behind the camera so I can see what you're seeing here. So see this second pin right there, the handle stops just shy of it on the back end. That's King Snake diamond wood. Any of y'all that make knives are familiar with diamond wood, I'm sure. It takes a high gloss with minimal work. Doesn't take a whole lot to make it shine up pretty. Got a little bit of gunk on that one, but I like it. It's good stuff to work with. It's not overly expensive, and for most of the people I make knives for, they can't afford, you know, a lot of money into them. So, you know, that's 20 bucks I'll make, give or take, for making her a little sheath. That's just a walnut stained leather sheath. It's thin leather, but boy, she's going to be using it for it. It's thick enough. I made a couple for my wife. I might do a video on those here shortly. But this is the one I'm most happy with, because this one's mine. This is the first knife I've made myself in, I know, 6 years, y'all. Gotta be 6 years. I've made knives, and as soon as I get them made, somebody says, "Ooh, I like that. Here you go, you can have it." You know, I made them for the fun of making them. But this is CPM 10V. Overall, it's a tad above or a tad below 12 inches overall. I think I measured it this morning, and it was like 5 1/4 on the handle and 5 7/8 almost on the blade itself. The blade is sharpened just about to the handle, and again I'll come in here and do you a close-up on it. It is a full convex grind, so it's flat all the way to the shiny part here, and then it's just a convex edge. Like I said, it's sharpened all the way up to the handle just about, but I've got plenty of room to choke in on it here and do that fine detail work, and I'll show you some of that in a minute. I did blue it with regular gun blue because I'm not going to use this for much food prep and stuff like that. I've got smaller knives that I'll use for that in the kitchen and when I go camping and stuff. My little Tiger Nap does really good at cutting stuff for food and that kind of deal, or my little Victorinox pocket knife that I keep on me. The steel was leftover steel that I scavenged from the company that I work with, and it's pitted up real bad before they had it sitting around. I don't know if the camera's picking up on any of that or not, but it's pitted up real bad, and rather than sand it down smooth and shiny, I left it that thickness. It's right at 3/16 of an inch thick. This is lemon wood, diamond wood handles, so it's got a lot of gold and a lot of browns and yellows in it. Again, it shines up really nice, but it still has a good, tacky feel to it. These are some stainless steel pins off of an old rabbit hutch that I had, a small in-house rabbit cage that had white epoxy paint on it. And I don't know if you can see that or not, but the pins actually have a white ring around them because I left that on there. They have that little detail. It's a right heavy knife. It's not light in the hand at all. You know it's there. But the way it's shaped, as many as you can see, is a lot like the Nesmith. But I've left more belly and all on it here, more thickness here, a little bit beefier through the handle, and brought the handle down more into more of a down curl so that you can grab back on the back of it here and use it for some good whacking. I know some of you thinking I don't have a lanyard on it. I thought about it. I may drill a hole here and run a lanyard through it so that I can put the lanyard through these two fingers when I'm holding it. That'll keep it from slipping out of my hand. I don't normally like to put a lanyard on my knives, but something this size, if I'm doing any chopping, I might. I left the back of it squared off pretty sharp, again, for scraping hides, things like that. You can get in here and scrape down on some hides with it, or you can use it for scraping your fat lighter, which I'll show you here in a minute. And I didn't bring a ferro rod outside with me. I ain't wearing shoes either, but y'all can sue me about that later. My knife is how I want it to be, and yes, I will baton with it. So let me get the camera set up on my little chopping block I've got here. I've had this for a while. Alright guys, I ain't got much out here to really baton or split or anything like that. Like I said, we're getting ready to move, so I've stopped collecting wood. But this little thing, this is my cutting test with it, by the way. I haven't done any kind of cutting with it since I sharpened it. I hadn't checked the edge for edge retention, anything like that. I'm getting cedar sap all over. This is just an old piece of cedar that's been sitting out there in the yard for a while off of the Christmas tree. You can see even up here on the belly, using the tip of the knife, just shaving that wood real nice and thin. Like I said, that's a full convex grind. So the blade is 90% flat, just one flat piece of steel, just convexed right there to the end, and it's doing pretty good on that. Seems to be chopping off little shivers, like if you wanted to make a steak, you needed to limb something out. Seems to be doing pretty good. Like I said, I'd swing a little bit harder on it if I did have a lanyard, but I just wasn't planning on putting one on it. I might now in retrospect. Let's see if we can cleave through all these knots, and I'd say that went quick enough. It was a good clean cut. Didn't take but a few whacks, and that's pretty good. I'd say 1.5 inches thick, maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more. I've seen the video where the little gent does this number, and I'm not knocking on him. That's the way he's done it all his life. More power to him. But the idea of picking a piece of wood and a blade up and slamming it down with my hand right there under it, you could have a soft spot in this wood that when you hit it, it just splits. Well, now, if your hand's under it when you do that, you just split your hand open. As you saw, I can hold the wood, bring this down, let go, and hit the wood and split it. That's still a little unsafe because the wood can move. If you have to do a controlled cut, it's so much easier to just lightly rasp on the back of that blade. And that was through a knot and everything. Right there's the knot. But it's a controlled environment. Now, I designed this knife based on the Nesmith line, but I also designed it to be batoned, which is why it has this bigger piece back here on the back. I also designed it so that if you needed to scrape off some bark, and like I said, I didn't bring a ferro rod, but now I'm holding that edge up against my hand, but it's resting like this. So I'm controlling the sharpened edge. It's not going anywhere. And all I'm doing is taking this piece here and scraping that down. I'm making controlled cuts. The angle is in such that if it does slip, the blade goes away from my fingers, so I'm not at any risk of hurting myself. I'm also bringing it back to where the butt of the handle is resting against my arm, giving it that little leverage so that it can't slide around too much. But now that's a good bit of shavings right there, and if that was fat wood or anything like that, even with it being cedar, I can smell the oil and the accelerants in it. You can see all the little pieces of resin coming out. Then that'll still do a great job of getting a fire started. So overall, I'm happy with it. It seems to be a good heavy-duty knife. It chops good, it splits good, it batons good. If I need to get in there and do any finer work, I can. I've got a little spot up here near the handle that's a straight edge. It's not fully curved, so I can get in there with it, make notches, find something a little bit more round for you. Here you go. Yeah, that'll work. See that flat edge there, I can get in there like that, come into it, make little controlled cuts and little notches, make my stock cut. Like I said, that's a straight edge, and then it curves the rest of the way. So it's got a lot more functionality to it than your average knife. I've decided that's going to be my new one-tool option for a while, just to see how it works out. So anyway, you pop you back up here. Sorry for the bouncing. Bending over like this takes a little bit out of me. Putting the bend on my back and everything kind of takes the breath out of me for some reason. So I'm going to call this quits right this minute. Much peace and love to all of you out there. And I hope to see you again in a video soon. I look for some video responses to any of my videos I've ever made, y'all. If you've got a way of doing it, I'm not going to say a better way, but if you've got a way of doing it other than mine, peace out. Let's see it. Let's spread the love, spread the knowledge, and spread the cheer, y'all. Cable Guy Ken. Peace.